The lighting is so crazy. Like, so when he's saying this, when he's like doing the pacing thing and he's delivering not the accusation, he's just telling him like, here's how I found out this thing that you should have told me your fucking self. It's like he's under bright, very blue, harsh, cold, fluorescent lighting, which we've never seen that kitchen look cool toned before.
No, this is so interesting the way they lit this whole scene because it is very cold.
Clinical.
Yeah. These white kind of fluorescent, very overhead. So you get these intense shadows as well. And it really helps to illustrate how frosty this whole interaction is. And it is so unusual for this kitchen, which is so often just like a very like diffused, warm lighting. And one of the interesting things that I really am fascinated by in this whole scene in the kitchen is that there's secondary lighting, right? So you have these like really cold, harsh overhead lightings when they get closer to the island.
Yeah, because there's a light above that.
And it kind of like almost washes things out. But then if you look back to the other side of the kitchen where there's Eddie, there's this like warm light over the kitchen sink. And I think like some of like over the stove as well, which are on. And those are warmer. So it really gives that kind of like contrast is almost like off-putting on purpose, right? Because like this is supposed to be a warm, like welcoming environment. And right now it is so the opposite of that. But it's like, it's kind of still giving like, this is what it usually is. This is what it can be at another time. But you have to like wade through this weird like juxtaposition of the cold and warm lighting.
And not to mention that like the sides that they're on. So like Buck, I feel like is more on the cooler side of the kitchen, and Eddie, even though it's like, so it's a smaller light or like it's a lot dimmer on that side, but he is nearby the bit of warmth that we have in there. And then obviously as the scene progresses, he goes more into the shadows, I would say.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing too, because you have Buck, again, like we said, pacing his enclosure, but he's going from like that very corner of the kitchen where the light doesn't touch him as much. And then he moves, like the blocking of this whole scene is so fascinating. So he moves from like the darker corner of the kitchen to the island, which is flooded with that like bright, colder light. And then he goes back. So it's like, it's this dance almost that both of them do. Like they're in the shadows kind of their feelings. And then they come closer to the middle and retreat again a little bit, like at different times. It's fascinating.